All right, so we back at it again. We back at it again. We back at it again. All right, surviving yourself and your finance. This part three. I don't know. Try to see if I can get me a series. You get me a bag like old girl. So basically, getting into the situation, which we're gonna start back. Running back some of the other things that I talked about in previous videos and catch up. Even with the topic I talked about yesterday about married and say yes. When it comes down to it, a lot of us have situations that we have to, maintain or, you know, do what needs to be done. Trying to, okay, there we go. Hit my do not disturb because I don't want nobody jumping in on this. So basically, quiet is kept. Everybody don't know, how to move. There are certain things that people possess to maintain, get by, but there's no real definite answer to I got everything figured out. Just sitting here talking with my wife earlier, we were talking about planning for a vacation, and one of the things that I said I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and pay this vacation off early, or I'm gonna get to the point where I can put as much money as I can to where it'll be comfortable for us to go ahead and get it done early, pay everything off, and then go from there. And with that being said, that means I'm, fractioning out. If I were to do, I think I came up to, what was it, 19 weeks, 20 weeks before we go on this vacation. 19, 20 weeks before we go on this vacation. And so with the 19, 20 weeks before we go on a vacation, what's going on, I'm already planning that out. So I think it was like $210 a week to pay it up to the time we get there. To the time of the trip, which would be the 20th week. That's $210 a week. Then I have this equipment that I want to buy for my job, and say the least, that's about $2,000. And I want to go ahead and get that because it's gonna make my job easier, make my life easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and snag that. What's going on, Tamika? Got me a new cell phone holder, real easy and convenient. But when it comes down to it, it's not nothing to brag about me spending a lot of money. I'm showing you the side of me budgeting and stuff, and this is stuff that, like I say, for the most part, I've pretty much learned over time. You know, there's not nothing that I was so advanced into this to where, man, I could pay these, I could do this. I was taught this as a kid. No, these are things that I'm learning as an adult. You know, and the whole crazy aspect, like I always refer back to, we didn't learn this stuff as kids. Majority of us, let's say the least. Because like prime example, like one of my friends, I always talk about with him. His mother told him when he wanted to get a credit card, she said the worst thing you could do is have credit under somebody else because you'll never pay it back. So from that point of her having a conversation, what's going on, Bronze? His mother doesn't know about finance. His mother doesn't know how to leverage credit. So she didn't want him to get in the predicament of her being in so much debt, you know, because the crazy part about it is when it comes down to it, there's a lot of parents who don't know the first thing about getting a credit card, properly using it. What is your utilization? You're not supposed to spend over 30% to get a decent return on your credit score. You know, depending on how much you get approved for, the interest rate. Everybody just about can be approved for a credit card. But then you have to look at the interest rate. How much is the interest rate for it? Same thing with buying a car. Same thing with buying a house. A lot of people just can't afford it. You know, shout out to Underrated Darkness. And we had a great discussion yesterday on this channel. Shout out to Underrated Darkness. Hoping he bring back the number one grinder channel too. That was his secondary channel. And we were talking about the youth uh not being educated on things, you know, still depending on their mother and father, just in life in general, to a point to where they're not surviving out here. They're not even living to an extent to be able to take care of themselves. One false move and it's over, you know. And it's more of a dependent thing to where, mothers, even fathers, to the point where they don't want to see their kids go. They rather have the kids there. What's going on, country hustle? They rather have their kids in their house to where they say, well, my child is safe because I know where they at all times. They're calling and checking in because they stay in my house. They know they can't come home late unless they have a good excuse, you know. So they always, in general, have this situation to where, they're in control. Even as an adult, there are some kids don't like that responsibility because it was never put upon them. You know, there are women who don't know how to cook because their mothers never took the time to teach them how to cook because they literally wanted them to be dependent on them, you know. And that's a crazy thing to think about and how, but at hand, that's what it mainly is, you know. And it comes to a point in which, you're in a survive a flight method to the point where I got to get this money by any means. I was never taught how to wash dishes properly. So getting into a relationship with somebody, whether it be a man or a woman, they don't know how to properly do chores. They don't know how to assign things. You know, your mother did all the cooking, all the cleaning. All she wanted you to do was just go to school and make good grades. You know, she even cleaned up your room. Don't you know there's a lot of adults, if you would talk to them, they don't know how to keep an organized room. Their parents always folded their clothes, so it goes into the relationship. And for some, this is not a shot towards men, but there are literally some men that have to have a wife and get married to fold their clothes, to cook, because they can't do these necessary things, you know, in which they lived at home with their mother till they turned 18. They stayed at home, didn't stay on campus because it wasn't safe, stayed at home, found a girlfriend. The girlfriend looked at them as, oh, this is cute. He don't know how to do anything. She nurtured him to the point where they got married and she realized this is not cute. He doesn't know how to do anything. Not even just clean and cook. When I say anything, this guy don't even know how to use a tool. What's going on, sweet thumb? He doesn't know how to use a tool. Anything from a drill, none of that stuff. He's green to all that. But the thing is, he's book smart and he can make money, you know? And that's how it pretty much goes when you have these situations to the point where, hey, I don't know how to do anything. This is to the point where you're surviving yourself because you literally don't know how to do nothing. I'll say nothing. I mean, nothing. Like I say, you have a guy that goes to school, make good grades, get into a nice college, but stays home. You know, his mother cleans his room. His mother does this. She give him money and everything to go out to eat with the friends and maybe give him money for his girlfriend to go on a date. Now he wants to get married. She's feeling like she's losing a piece of herself because she took care of him so long. She trained a girlfriend to do the same thing. My baby just need attention. And ultimately, this young man gets married to a woman. He's good with finance. He can pay for things, but he's not good with his hands. There's nothing wrong with that to an extent, but where's the training? Where's the tough love from the father? Where is the, you know, understanding that, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. That was always a cliche thing back in the day. Sometimes you gotta roll up them sleeves and get them hands dirty. Now, let's go into the women aspect of it as well, because they're the same way I talked about with the men. I told you I'm equal opportunity over here. You know, I don't bash no women like that, and I don't bash the men. Equal opportunity. If I say anything about the women, there's the same similar scenario. Not all the way equipped, because you know how things are. But the point of it is, if you have bad men out here, you have bad women. And going into that same note, you literally have women, same concept. Don't cook, don't clean. Mother takes care of everything. They just want them to make good grades and look pretty. Keep them in the latest fashion, make them look good, go to school, and ultimately, the mother lives vicariously through the daughter. You know, so she has no skills. She's surviving off her looks. She's surviving off her looks. Find a man. This man, might don't have a lot of money. He can't take care of her as much as that. No, so he needs her to cook because he don't have that money to, you know, always take her out to eat. She moves on to the next one. This guy, he's able to, pay for things that she wants. He's able to get a maid. He's able to get a chef, whatever it takes, because this woman is fine and he has the money. So ultimately, she's surviving off her looks. The guy surviving with his finance, in the first scenario, this woman in the second scenario, she's surviving off her looks. You know, Beauty only can get you so far. Money can only get you so far. You need other tools to survive, you know. And let's not even get into the finance aspect on both parties. Yeah, this young man probably goes to school financially, learning about money, wants to become a banker, wants to do anything, something in finance to the degree. This guy is equipped to handle things, to make things work, the necessary arrangements in his life to where, you know, he might can't pick up a screwdriver, but this guy has enough money to teach. I mean, he has enough money to pay someone to do the job. He's been taught this. So this is a good thing, you know. And like I said, as far as financially, this guy is equipped. He went to school for it. He knows how to handle money. He knows how to cut deals in the business, So he's handy with the finance. But the thing of it is, it wasn't taught to him by his parents. He went to school to learn this process, you know. And that's the thing. When it comes down to it, most parents don't even know the basics. I mean, most parents know just the basics to survive. To survive. And when I say the basics to survive, more or less in general, uh, writing down your bills, or just when the bill is due, you pay it. You have enough money when the bill is due, you pay it. You have somewhat of a budget to the point where you're not spending savagely because certain bills come out at certain times. So hey, if I know the light bill comes out at this time, I'm gonna make sure I have the money for the light bill. I know the mortgage is due or the rent is due at this time. I'm gonna have the money for that. That's all. I mean, that's basic instructions. When it comes down to it, if a bill is due, you get it in the mail, you get an email, you get a text, whatever, you pay it, you have the money. Now let's go into the process of not having the money. That's the crazy part. You're overspending. Prime example, pretty much for the most part, if you ever bought a car, say the least, there are some key things you actually need, but some you really don't. I can come in, say I have a job working at a place, and they can ultimately check and they can run a background check. I mean, I'm sorry, they can run my credit, pretty much background too, but just to see, do I pay my bills on time? Anything on my credit? I have rented. I don't have anything on there that showing that I'm not paying my rent or something like that, or certain degree to the point where I can't be trusted. And as long as I come to the table, majority of times, if you come to the table with a down payment, they're selling you that car. If you come to the table and say, man, I'm willing to put $3,000 down on this car note that is 1,500, 2,000, $100, I mean $1,000 a month, they're gonna pretty much give you that car. If you have decent credit, you're coming in with some money down, you're getting that car. Now the reverse, getting into buying a home, slightly a little more money, paperwork, everything has to be in play. Your job. That's why it takes on the in the process of buying a home about 45 days. We got to see the consistency of the money coming in your account. We have to see, everything that you're saying to be true. You make this much money, whether you work for yourself, whether you work a W 2 for a company, whether you say that you have this money now, or you're getting it as a gift from a family member. And let's step into this real quick. I talked about this yesterday on Married Say Yes. And I was going into the situation where the new crave and a lot of women, my wife, she had me listening to it. She's going and she said she's not listening to the whole, I think the lady did like a 60 some part series on who the F did I marry. And if you look this story up, it's trending everywhere. Like this woman has made a series on TikTok about who did I marry, but she said who the F did I marry, and she goes into all the red flags, but yet she's still going through the process. She still married the guy. So it was crazy to me to hear this situation, and I'm like, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, this fake. And she's like, nah, it's real. I think it's real. I'm like, it's fake. Because if it's not fake, I'm not trying to shoot her in the foot, but she got to be one of the most naive. I'm not gonna go all the way in like I said with my wife, but she got to be one of the most naive women. Like this guy had so many red flags. He lied about buying a house. He lied about money in his account. He kept hiding money or hiding situations to the point. What's going on, boss lady Denise? It's just like when it came down to it, it was too many issues with this guy and the relationship. And it was to the point where I told my wife, I was like, honestly, she got into this. Uh-oh, here go my favorite YouTuber, Kara the Girl Miniature. What's going on, Carol? Oh man, every time Kara, you be having me rolling, Kara. What's going on with you, Kara? But like I'm saying, the issue with the relationship with this woman, she pretty much just like got into a relationship with a guy and ultimately just fell in love with him to the extent everything he did wrong, all the red flags, she just took it and just ran with it. Yeah, I think to a degree she might be a media plant. I mean, because her story is pushing to a lot of, to the narrative of men are bad, men are liars, men are manipulators. But this is the thing. I've always said this in about relationships. When it comes down to it, ultimately, you have a choice in the matter. You can choose to be a fool. You can choose to be in a position of, love. You can choose to be in a position of abuse. It's a choice. And to my understanding, she chose to be with this guy after she's seen all the red flags. And this goes into what, mainly I'm talking about today, about surviving yourself. And, that's the thing. Even when her finances, talking about, she would always throw out, I would hear her throughout the video while my wife's listening, and she kept talking about an X6 BMW. I showed my wife an X6 before a long time ago, and that's what she wanted. And over the time, like the new X6, they were just getting better and better. And I was like, man, I like this car. I'm like, man, I want this car. But then what came with that car? Like I always tell my wife, I was like, we can literally get all these cars, no problem. But the point of it is the maintenance. The maintenance on these cars, the Mercedes, the BMW, even out to people that want Lamborghinis. You know, if you draw out a budget, there's 10 times out of 10 you can afford most of these things. You know, and if it's not in the budget where you can afford it, guess what? You can always go and make more money. And it's to the point to where you can literally buy anything. Only thing that's holding you back is a little bit of knowledge and not being educated on things. You know, I seen this guy, he broke down how he afforded his Lamborghini. He has a decent salary job. He has a lot of investments, and he actually took it to the point to where he had a FBA store, and it gave him good turnarounds on products that he was just regularly selling. Like he said, everybody go after the high ticket items like the speakers and stuff of that nature, but he just sell basic things like tissue, basic things, shampoo, toothpaste. He said for the people that don't want to go to the grocery store, just selling that stuff on Amazon. I was like, I never thought about that. Like it's selling like that. Prime example. There was a guy, he ended up buying a Lamborghini Huracan. And for those that don't know, that's the SUV that Lamborghini makes and everything. And the crazy part about it was this guy bought that Huracan just selling body lotion. I mean, yeah, it was a body gel, the shampoo or whatever. I think it was called Method. And they sell that stuff so expensive in Target, Walmart, and they had it on sale, to a degree. When things are not selling, what's going on, Queena? When things are not selling, they actually sell it off for cheap prices at Walmart. I see it all the time. I literally go shopping, buying, and I see it all the time. And it's to a point that where when they selling this stuff out in bulk or just when it's not selling, they try to get it out. They sell it on discount prices. They mark it down. It might be good in some areas, but not in all. Yeah, and that's the SUV. So this guy ended up getting a couple of bottles that was on clearance, and he put it online. And little did he know that in other parts of the United States, that stuff is like liquid gold for people like taking showers in the jail, whatever. The shower gel, confusing the two, but shower gel. When it comes down to it, people just buying that stuff on Amazon, on his Amazon site, and it got to a point in which he literally contacted the manufacturer, bought it wholesale, and then put it on his site. Sold so much within the last 2 to 3 years, I think he said, of all the products, but mainly that shower gel took the case last year to the point where he literally bought his car. Page, what's going on in the building? What's going on with your page? And this guy bought a Lamborghini Huracan with the Urus. I think it's the Urus. Why I keep saying the Huracan? That's the car, the Urus. Um, the Huracan is the car, but basically he bought this Lamborghini SUV from just selling body gel. He would buy it at a discount price at Walmart to the point where he seen it was selling on his site to where yeah he did the drop shipping. He did the drop shipping on Amazon to where he seen it start selling real good. He ended up going to the manufacturer, buying it wholesale, and putting it on there for a markup price. You buy it wholesale, they're already giving it to you at a discount price for you to make money. Paige, I'm gonna have to start going back in. I guess I'm gonna have to undo my bail and redo it because I catch some of your videos when I go to your when I go to your page, but I don't be seeing your videos pop up like that all the time. And it's a lot of people like that. Be the difference clothing. I remember when she had left for a little while and came back, like I wasn't getting none of her videos. And when I had went in, I didn't unsub because they say you're not supposed to really unsub. But going into that, I just went in, did the bell to no notifications, and then flipped it back up to notifications. Then I started back getting her notifications. But you know, I'm gonna have to do that. Young Riaz, what's going on with you? But yeah, this guy ended up doing that drop shipping to the point where he was able to afford that SUV. And I'm talking about, man, like it was love for him. He was loving the business. And that's the thing. A lot of times you get into that just by learning, the basics. Don't you know they literally have an app? There's a guy that I watch on YouTube, and all he does is use this app to snap pictures as shoes, or he scans barcodes on the boxes. Now, if you have the box, it's even more better. But if you don't have the box, hey, to a degree, it's still a play because I don't even want to say play because that's been associated with so much craziness now. I don't even want to say it's a play. But for the most part, it's been associated to the point where you just scan the barcode, it automatically tells you how much it's selling on Amazon, and you can put in how much you're buying it for, and it tells you the profit. And you have a lot of them on the shelf. Just buy them and sell them. There are people going to TJ Maxx, going to Marshalls. The shoes in the box. They're snapping a picture or scanning a barcode. The shoes pulling up on the Amazon site, and they're telling you how much people are selling these shoes online. What is the profit? How much you paid for it, and how much your profit is. Then you can mark it up or go for the highest bid or go for the lowest bid. Certain things are in demand. People are getting top dollar for shoes that are not used, but just out of date. Prime example with the Jordans. Back in the day, I would have never thought me buying a pair of shoes and not wearing them and just keeping them in the closet and trying to maintain them could actually get to a point. What's going on, Alonzo? Can get to a point where I can make so much money from it. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Hey, Sweet Thumb, you spot on. There are people that are actually probably doing that. You know, the whole thing of going through Alibaba, what's going on, Cool Gamer? Going through Alibaba, getting these speakers, going through different little sites and getting speakers. Bluetooth, like that's the biggest thing. Like I'm like a real Bluetooth speaker fanatic. I got Harman Kardon's, I got Bose, I got the what is the AK one that I have? I forgot the name of the brand, but this is like a real high end quality audio brand I bought, and I actually bought that for my grandmother, because she was in assisted living. Oh, it's like more like a rehab. Yeah, AKG. Yep. Hey man, you spot on. Yeah, and I got that for my grandmother for her being in a nursing home for that moment when she was in rehab. where her knee, she blew her knee out, had some type of surgery and her knee I blew out, and she had to go into rehab because she stayed in a split level house, and going up and down those stairs, she had to have the needs to do it. I told her, I was like, hey, we can put your bed in your living room because nobody really comes over but family, and then go from there. And then when you get healed up, she was like, well, I'd rather go to rehab. They're paying for it and all. Cool, no problem. And it got to a point to where, hey, she loved those headphones. I actually have my I had them for a minute till I just I messed the cover that goes on them. But like I said, great headphones. Take those, resell them, make a lot of money. You know, and Alonzo, hey, I sent you that message this morning. Hey man, you got to do that video, man. I'm telling you, go through the process of the plans and the wheels. Hey, that's hella content, man. But like I said, I'm getting back into the surviving. Like I said, going with that lady, she literally talked about surviving. Like, who the f did I marry? I'm trying not to cuss because of the algorithm, but who the f did I marry? That series sparked so much, like 10 minutes at a time. And I told my wife, I said, if she was to bring this to YouTube, like she'll make so much money because there are like thousands of people like I'm interested in because I want to hear a lot of the flaws in it. And it's like things that trigger into you because being in certain spaces, with the manosphere, being in spaces with listening to women, you get an understanding of talking points, gaslighting, and things of that nature. So you know how to react and, just weed through the bull crap in which most people don't. You know, having an understanding of how people talk and reflect on things, you know where the gaslighting or the unaccountability parts or in these relationships or in this process of yourself not being accountable. So you don't want to get the backlash, you know. And just listening to her story is very unaccountable for herself to go through this process and just shoot the messenger with the young man that she was dealing with. Yes, I say 100%. This guy had a demise, and the way she feel. If this is true, her plan, to marry him, and this guy was up and down. I don't even know if they got married. My wife didn't get to that part yet. She been telling me this thing. I don't know. I might go ahead and listen to it, but for the most part, I think it's on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok. My wife has TikTok, so that's how I know that I'm pretty much not gonna see it. And she was telling me to a degree, somebody took the whole series and put it on YouTube. And don't you know how many views they're getting? And it's like almost 2 hours long, like just a constant talk about her relationship. And these are the things that people talking about now. Like I said, all right, what's going on? Hey, like, have you heard about this story? And it's who the I think it's who the TF did I marry? I think she put who the TF did I marry? Who TF did I marry or who the F did I marry? It's something similar to that. But what's going on with you? How you doing? How you feeling? How you living? But this is a crazy story. And just listening to it, like I told my wife, I said, man, this soap opera all day. I was like, I already go through the soap opera on YouTube, listening to people and just listening to this right here. It's like a soap opera. You know, it's literally like a soap opera listening to this, hearing this conversation about this woman going through this stuff. And like I told her, this is the modern day soap opera on YouTube to where in which, yeah, like everybody's listening to the whole thing though. My wife was like, I'm not listening to all that. I'm not listening to all that. She said, I'm not every time you go and play, go to the next one. Play, go to the next one. She's like, I'm not doing that. Like I told my wife, I was like, why don't you just like the person who had it on YouTube, just play it and listen to the whole thing. I think it's like she said an hour or too long. I'm like, that's most people listening to lives like that. Like if it's some good information, I literally sit down. All right, I gotta see, do you have a wrench? Back, just making sure everybody got their wrenches and stuff they wrenched up. But when it comes down to it, like I say, this story was crazy. And for the most part, being in different spaces have led me to understand and see things from the critical thing about knowledge. Once you understand and you see things and you know about things, you can't unsee them and you can't unknow like certain things. And the craziness about, like I said, a lot of this stuff, because I'm catching it from side to side. And hey, Dr. Dunbar, this might be something that to talk about. I don't know. The lady actually is in Georgia, and this is a series that everybody's talking about. Who the f did I marry? And it's going into talking about money. Like this guy literally falsified paperwork that I'm assuming, because this is going off of what she's saying, and now the guy is supposed to be coming out with his side, and I'm like, man, this is going to be a lot of money if this is true. A guy who she actually was messing with, because I think the story's fake. But overall, they're saying that the guy who she was messing with is supposed to be coming out with his side. It could be some random guy, and if he goes through the whole series and give his side, that's that's money on that side too. Like she's standing to make a lot of money off of this already, but just in general, just going back at it again, make it more of a series. But financially, he's supposed to been putting up some money. This is all from things I've been hearing and my wife telling me back and forth, because I'm already listening and dealing with the YouTube. I'm not gonna be full time invested in this like this. Like I'm not sitting down listening. Like we was in the car, I listened from the beginning, episode 1 to 3, and then we got to our destination. I gave her my headset so she can listen while we walk around. Then turn around. She came back, got in the car. We listened to a little more, and then got home. She went off. I think she's at episode less than 18, probably I think like 18, 20 or something like that. And she just give me updates on like, yeah, man, this guy, they was about to have a kid, or the house didn't go through because he lied. And this guy's literally like a master manipulator, or she just that like naive, or she's so invested on marrying him that she's not even taking the necessary precautions and figuring out, is this a right person for her? Is this marriage gonna work, or is this guy the right person for? Because honestly, you listening through all the stuff that she talks about, this guy lying at the beginning. This guy lied about somebody coming to her house because she asked the neighbor for the ring camera, and she said some. He said some guy came and looked for her. Like I said, basically just a big soap opera. Honestly, it's more of a color purple. Honestly, like a color purple thing. It's like a big story. It's made up, and just like with the color purple, it went along with the narrative that was back then that men beat on women. And this narrative with this one is still in telling men are horrible in relationships. So I mean, it works for this day and time. The color purple don't work this day and time because you have police that can stop the abuse. you have women who make money and they feel as if they don't have to stay in a bad relationship, which they shouldn't. But that's why I laughed about the color purple. I was like, it's not gonna work in this day and time, you know. But getting back to the finance, the money, surviving yourself, like literally, she wanted this stuff to happen, in my opinion, by listening to some of this stuff because the red flags were there. She didn't take heed. She literally kept going into the fire. And I used the same example yesterday when I did my live. Someone physically hurting you. If someone's coming to you every other hour and pinching your arm, pinching your arm, pinching your arm, you're like, hey man, that hurts. Stop. Pinching your arm, pinching your arm. Physically, this you're feeling the pain. You you know, it's getting to you. And then you get to the aspect of wanting to do something about it. You know, and you're like, man, you keep doing this, I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna do this to you. I'm gonna do that to you. Why people don't use that same standpoint when it comes to their emotions? Like emotionally, you know this person is getting over on you. Why are you letting them do this? Because physically is hurting you, you know, to a point where your body is feeling it. You get to a point where it hurts you that way. And a lot of people are suffering from this because why? They don't take the necessarily, adjustments to it to say, I'm not gonna go through this process. I'm not gonna be treated like this. I'm not gonna live like this. They just keep going through the process, you know. And crazy as it is, she went through this process willingly because it wasn't like it was forced. This guy went and stayed with her during COVID. And I told my wife, I was like, she wanted this guy to come stay with her during 19. I forgot about using that word, the C-19. So she literally told the guy, hey, I need you to come stay over here. They wasn't she supposedly from I guess in the first couple of videos I watched when she was talking about them staying together doing 19, they just got in a relationship like the tip of what was it, 19. So going into that process, and they never messed around, so she said in the video, why would you want to stay with somebody and you don't even know them? You're just sparking a relationship, but you're real. You getting to know this person over the phone all the time. You're literally talking to this person. You meet up on 2 dates, and you feel each other. You kind of hit it off, and then going into 19, where you have to start, being around each other all the time because you can't be going all these other places and things if you go to work. She decided which place are we gonna stay at, yours or mine? I'm like, I would have never did that, and it was already, to my opinion, that she was looking the sex aspect far as the relationship with them. And I'm like, man, that is literally crazy. Yeah, and that's the thing, like the financial standpoint are like when she started getting to the point of knowing this guy had money, that was the situation for her to, I'm assuming to take advantage or to, get all the things that she wants. Like she was talking about this ex, like I say, from the first couple of videos and hearing my wife listen, she was always talking about this X6. And it's like he was supposed to be the manipulator, but she stayed in a relationship. Yeah, and I mean, just in general, it sounds like you're right. She was the master manipulator in this situation because it, and when it come down to it, why are you staying with somebody that every time you get these red flags? Because it was the assumption he literally showed her like all his money like on the table, showed her a paper indicating that he was approved for this much money for a loan and all this, and she ran with it literally. And she was just, to the point where she was looking to be taken care of so much, and all the red flags that he had, she was willing to just go around all those red flags due to the point of this guy having money and put her to a point of not being able to work and stuff. In my opinion, that's what I'm looking at. And it was just crazy. And I told my wife, I was like, would you even go for something like this? Just because I had money, that don't mean you're gonna get the money. And this could be one of the method that he plays on with women or not. Like I said, to me, this whole thing is made up, fictitious, but just breaking it down, she was contributing to the madness herself. Yeah, and that was the thing. What's the lady? I forgot her name. I don't. I know she says this, but it's funny. Yeah, she was trying to get the bag. She was trying to go for this point with men and be in this type of relationship, and I'm like, wow. She did all this, and in the end, she literally got herself caught up. And like I said, throughout the whole narrative, she basically kept, blaming that he was naive. I mean, he was manipulative. He kept giving her falsified documents. She was looking at his account, and she was literally what the old people say. She was counting the eggs before they hatch, and that was her method. Hold on one moment. Yeah, and like I said, man, it was just crazy. She she knew what she was doing. Like she was like this stuff was planned. It wasn't nothing that was sprung on her. Like she had no idea that this stuff would happen like this. It was nothing that was random. This was all planned out by her. And she made herself be the victim. But in actuality, like I said, this is a modern thing to keep having red flags and to keep going through the process. How many people see these red flags and look at them as nothing? Like this is what I'm saying, surviving yourself. On one end, she's blaming somebody else for her being naive and not seeing the red flags and the signs of all this. And then another, she just, going with the typical stereotype that all men are bad and evil to the point how she getting over. And it goes to that standpoint to where, you know, when you in a relationship, you know, you have to consider all things to do. You considering the situation you're in, the situation that someone's trying to put you in, how to, get you into a state of mind, have you upset, have you down and out, because that's their whole intent is to self-preservation, self first. And like I say, just going into this whole story, yeah, she had a big part to play in it, but the whole thing of being naive about all this, saying that, hey, this guy would just time after time did me like this, time after time put me in a situation like this. And the more, like I said, I don't know the whole thing, so I can't really say I haven't sat down. I might sit down and look at the whole thing, but it was to a point to where I'm like, man, like she keep going through this. Why is she don't have to do this? And that's what I say about a lot of people in relationships. They literally don't have to go through this. Yeah. And crazy part is, uh, Gold Professor, he always referred to the Iceberg Slim book because of the situation in which he talked about and charismatically wrote about things in life. And right, it falls along the same lines. Even I think Iceberg Slim was talking about his mother being abusive to the guy who she was with. His name was Henry something. And it was to the point where that's what ultimately made him be a pimp. He said he didn't want to go through that the way his mom treated that guy. And it came down to more or less, hey, that was the issue. But when it come down to it, man, it it's yeah, a mark trick, whatever y'all want to call it. And it was on both ends. She was playing him for a better life, and he was playing her for a seat at the table, as they call it, the round table. He's playing her for a seat at the table. And it was crazy how all this stuff spit out and, going into this relationship. And she was trying to make this whole thing like, oh, he was the bad person. He was this and he was that. But what what part did you have played in this situation? What is the situation like the part you played in? She's not referring, she's not talking about that. She's not giving notation on how she influenced this thing to keep going. Cause at any time she could have easily told him like, hey man, I'm not gonna keep going through this. Hey man, you hurting me, you making me feel bad. No, I'm not going through this. But every single time throughout the whole process, she kept driving this whole relationship forward. Like, oh, I caught him lying right here. But then again, I stayed. I don't know why I did. And I caught him lying right here. And when it came down to, oh man. Yeah. And that's what I said throughout the whole process. And like I told my wife, I was like, this is storytelling at its best. Carol, I think she might got you beat. I don't know, Kara. She might got you beat. Like your your uh your things that you talk about, and this is your life that you talk about, Kara. Hey, I'm like some of the best storytellers now, but I think she might got you beat, Kara. She might got you beat, Kara. I don't know, cause this is like soap opera 101. And like I was telling my wife, I was like, I'm telling you, this sounds fake. And she hasn't got to the end yet. She says she don't think she's gonna go all the way to the end, cause my wife sometimes she be like, she like juicy gossip, but she don't like all that drama. So she was like, man, it's starting to be too overwhelming. She was like, I rather for myself to listen to some of it and either skip or just wait till people tell me the whole rundown because I don't want to get to the end and it was all fake because I'm gonna feel like, man, it's like a it's like a movie with no happy ending. Yeah, it's crazy though. But needless to say, going into that situation and her not being financially stable, she was being taken advantage of on both ends. Emotionally, financially, and pretty much the thing I'm talking about. Yeah. I think my wife, I think I listened about 20 minutes when I was in the car because I listened to the first few, the first one through three. And then when my wife, she listening to it as she go along, just doing stuff, cleaning. Um, I listened to it then, like cooking last night. I end up grilling, and I end up grilling some, what is this? Some type of beef. It already was made at Kroger's. It was supposed to be like what was it? Some type of crab meat or crab and beef and spinach all rolled up into a roll, and then they sliced it and put a band around it to where when you grill it at all, it's almost like a filet mignon type. deal, and it was all wrapped up in a roll. So basically, what they did was took it, flattened it out, put all the ingredients, and stacked it, and then rolled it up. But I had cooked that and some chicken, no barbecue this season, and did the potatoes, peppers, and stuff like that. But look like the what do they call those finger potatoes or little baby potatoes? I cooked those. I boiled them on the stove to a degree, and then once I got to a point where I had them more or less cooked good enough, I put them in with the peppers. So all it was just like a little sizzling. I have a little basket where I cook vegetables over the grill on, and I chopped all that up, put it in there. I left the potatoes whole because it was already cooked, but the peppers and stuff, I chopped them up where they have it like on the grill, and I put a little oil on there so it can be good with some season on there. And I think my wife had some rice from yesterday. We ate the rice with it, but I didn't eat the rice. I ate the French fries that was from yesterday, from the day before, because I think we had salmon burgers Wednesday, I believe. We had salmon burgers Wednesday, so I ate that. My wife cooked salmon burgers. But anyhow, just going through the process of her listening to it as she going around cleaning. I was just listening every now and then. Like when I was cooking, going in and out the house, I was listening to the fact of she was saying that somebody was at the house and all this craziness. And Mills, what's going on with you? I gotta go back to your page too because for some reason I haven't been getting your notifications or nothing like that for your page. Same thing with page, and it's a lot of people I don't see that pop up. I don't know if it's I have so many notifications pop up at one time. I'm not getting everybody, but it's to a thing is happening. But I'm about to go ahead and get off of here. But like I said, that story crazy. It's literally crazy because a lot of times you have situations like this to where being unaccountable for the stuff that you do, okay, you don't have a page, okay. Cause I'm like, I know I don't see nothing on there. I'm like, do you even have a page? Cause I see your picture. Most people who don't have a page, they don't have pictures. They just have the page up and that's it. They don't put a picture up. But all right, I was just making sure because I'm like, I don't see no notifications from you. But yeah, it's like to a degree, it's really no accountability for this lady. And more or less put off on the man. But like I said, if you listen to it, all the stuff she went through, all she had to do was just say, I'm not gonna deal with this guy lying no more. I'm gonna stop dealing with him. I'm not gonna deal with this guy always not, coming through on his promises or doing what he says he's gonna do. I'm not dealing with him no more. And it would have been over. But that's the case with most people. They keep going through the process. There are men who know that their woman was cheating and they'll still keep going through until they get their feelings hurt real bad. And that's when they'll come with the man, I can't take this no more. I'm gonna go ahead and leave. After all the process of now you want to leave when you don't went through this whole process of being crazy. Same, thing with women. The guy cheats all the time and it take one point of everybody knowing for you to say, I'm not gonna deal with this guy no more. So you gotta be accountable for yourself. You know, you gotta sit here and understand the things that you're going through is a process in which you brought upon yourself. Same thing with your finance. When you turn 18, in my opinion, is no excuse. If I don't know something, I need to go learn it. You know, if I don't know how to financially keep my bills in order, I need to find somebody that do or Google search it online. A lot of people use online for entertainment, far as YouTube, Google searches. Why not use them to better your life? They have so many apps that can help you. So many apps that you can use to better your life. So many apps. People use the phone to play games, watch, deal with social media. Why not use the phone to make more money? Like I said, I'm in the process now where I'm gonna go on vacation in about 20 weeks. I broke it down to $210 for 19 weeks. And by the week of me going, I pay it off. It's gonna be paid off in full. Or anytime I make this extra money, because this is what I'm gonna start doing. I'm either start doing extra hours at work, picking up extra jobs on the weekend, and to put that money over there just for the trip. And I know I have all my money set aside, everything will be available for that trip. Same thing with the process now. I want to buy this tool for for my job. The tool that I want to buy, it costs is $2,000. It's a power jack, electric jack for my job. I do deliveries. So me having this electric jack, it cuts off from doing a strenuous back work. It cuts off on my knees burning from pulling this pallet jack. Because all I'm doing is dropping off pallets in the warehouse, maybe go down somebody's driveway or something. The electric jack has a motor on there. It's gonna be so much easier. I'm not pulling, not straining. It's just a flip of the wrist, flip of the wrist. And people will look at it, man, that's $2,000 a lot. But it's convenient for me. This $2,000 be a convenient thing to save my back and me have the relief when I go home at night. What's going on, Frugal Mama? And when it comes down to it, I can always resell that thing 1,500, $1,000, get some of my money back. And that's the thing. Like right now, I'm in the process of be going on vacation to Savannah for spring break. And at that time, they're gonna have the Soil Family Expo down in Savannah. That's another trip I'm gonna be doing. Living Out Loud, the podcast, what's going on? And Frugal Mama, I did say hey to you. But when it comes down to it, Savannah, I have a lot of giveaways I'm be giving away down there. I have a dry eraser board with all the days and stuff. It has like a marker, eraser, some pens that you can put on there. I have a camera stand. And, oh yeah, wellness for Frugal Mama. I don't know if I missed the video, but I want to see how that thing works because I'm thinking about getting one myself, and if it works real good, I might get another one to give away as well. So I'm thinking about doing that. So let me know about that one. Yeah, I mean, investing. The biggest thing, that's the whole reason why I try to have the talks on my channel, just to invest. You know, invest in yourself. You know, a lot of things that I talk about are surrounding just you in general, your finances, talking about, you planning a budget, you investing in yourself mentally, far as your health, um, your mental standpoint. You got to be right in the head. You got to, actually come to an agreement to yourself to make things work for yourself, and mainly doing the research. I was talking about investing yourself with the knowledge, talking about the 9 laws of self-governance. With Gold Professor talks about, um, you have discipline, the number one thing, protection of yourself, protecting the mind, protecting the body. Apply selfishness. You know, you got to apply selfishness and understand that sometimes you have to worry about you, and then when able to turn it off, to focus on other things. You know, getting to a point to where, say, your daughter got married in Savannah. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Okay. And what was it? Four. I haven't went over the whole thing in a long time. Four was reading, and five is exercise, 6 and 7 are intertwinable. Know thyself, know who you are. Those are, you can flip either one. If you know yourself, then you know who you are. A lot of people fail to understand things about themselves. They don't know who they are. So once you know who you are, you know yourself, you know your value, you know your worth. 8, build something. A lot of people are not focused on not even just building your finance, building investments, building yourself. I talk about my weight struggles too. That I go through the process of exercising, not as much as I should because I'm mostly tired, drained a lot, but I'm constantly always doing a lot of work. I'm constantly moving. From the time I get up to the time I go to work to the time I get off of work, I'm doing other things outside of work. I have projects around the house that I'm doing, so I'm constantly adhering to those projects, painting, redoing the floor. I'm in the process of trying to finish those fully, and then I have trees I had to cut out in the back because some branches fell. I had to cut them up. I had to move some things out my garage to make room for other things. I'm in the process of buying a shed. I got to pressure wash the house. I got to get ready for cutting grass and you know getting the cars straight. Make sure everything's good with the car. So when something comes up, there's other projects get put on hold. So I'm constantly moving. So I have to equip all that into play and still maintain a healthy balance of eating. So my wife, she's encouraging me with that. We go through the process together because I want to live a long time. I literally want to live a long time. The biggest process too, going into building something, law number 9, plant these seeds and be patient. A lot of times people are not patient and they miss out on things in life. The old people used to always say, take time to smell the roses. A lot of people don't take time to smell the roses. A lot of people don't look at the quality of life. So the whole point of, having this series, getting you focused on your finance, but also getting you focused on you. Because if you can't get yourself together, how can you get your finance together? You know, if you got a budget for your household, you should have a budget for yourself, to maintain your happiness. That's a budget to maintain you. You're making out a budget to maintain your happiness. You're making out a budget to adhere to things that make you feel good. That's your budget for yourself, not just even with dealing with money, just personal. Then you come adhere to the things as which you need to focus more on life, far as your finance, focus more on life. I heard this pastor once say, we spend all our time and energy and health to make money in our youth. And the name of the book that I'm speaking of, oh no, I'll share it. It's something that Gold Professor, a YouTuber, he's he wrote the 9 laws of self government. He's actually writing a book to this, but his channel is I gotta drop his channel in as well. But he changed the channel name, but I think you should be able to find it up on the Gold Professor. But he changed his channel name. He has 2 other channels he has, that's going pretty good now too. It's more or less referring to the knowledge and everything. But those are the 9 laws of self-govern, and he focused more on the aspect of the numbers, and which I can't think of the name of the group. Uh it's the 7. I'm having a brain freeze right now, but basically those are the numbers like the math. And they always talk about knowledge of self. And to have the knowledge of self, Everything is derived mathematically through numbers. And if you have the breakdown of yourself, one being the man, two being the woman, three being the children, is the knowledge is the man, the wisdom is the woman, the understanding are the kids. One, two, three. Essentially knowing the math and knowing, your order, your place in life, you know, and a lot of times the woman being the wisdom, in order in which, I laugh and I was talking to someone who was saying about the first should be last and the last should be first. And really when it comes down to the order, as long as the situation get handled and things get done, everybody's so focused on being number one. Nobody's focused on having the team work. If I'm second and the team works, then so be it, you know. And I talked to a situation too about with my wife, with us in our household. It's not a dictatorship. It's more like I always say with equal opportunity because if you look at it, the relationship is technically like a business. Two corporations coming together, they always have one that's a CEO. You have one that's over everybody. If the two corporations come together, one of them have to stand out. And for the most part, it should be the most knowledgeable one, the one that's gonna take things and lead, and the one that's gonna make the sacrifice, the one that's gonna die on the sword on the cross. And that's the thing when it comes into it, you know, everybody wants to be the leader, but would you sacrifice yourself? And that's the essential parts of, going into the, point of being a real man. Me and Gold Professor, I'm gonna get ready to get off of here, but me and Gold Professor had this talk, and he would always refer to males, and he would refer to men. And I laughed one time, and I was like, "Why you always, kind of make that distinction?" Because he said you have to. Just like there are women and there are ladies or females, you literally have to make that distinction from males to men. Men handle business, men stand on purpose, you know, and to a degree, you should know if you have a man compared to the situation of dealing with a male in which things are okay. Things can be what they are, just long as things are not what they are for certain standpoints to them. They okay with moving through life like that. Men stand on a purpose. Men are driven to stand on things that can, uplift. Males just want to get by. I don't have to work extra hours. I'm gonna put that responsibility on somebody else. I need someone to take care of me. And when he more or less had that talk, and I would always go through the situation of dealing with my boys, going through the same process. That's true. That is so true. That is so true, Art. And with that being said, I'm about to get off of here. You know, guide yourself, live for yourself. Don't get caught in the system. And I haven't start getting back into what I always talk about, society standards. Not that society push us so much, it's society puts a standard out there and supposed to adhere to it. We're supposed to adhere to the standards in which society give us. We don't have to follow that path. It's on us. It's on us to literally do the proper things to put ourselves in the best place to win. Mind, body, and soul. So it's up to us to make the right decisions in our life, make the right decisions on who we deal with in relationship or just sociable as friends. It's up to us. You know what I always say at the end of every pod? With that being said, shout out to everybody that came through. You know what I say? We here and we gone. Peace.